Yo, what's good YouTube? In this video I'll talk about reps in reserve and why I use them and why I think you should use them too. For those of you who don't know, basically reps in reserve is not going to failure. Personally, I consider them as leaving one rep in the tank. Not two, not three. In my opinion, one is enough. More than two is just too little for me. So I consider reps in reserve just not going to failure. Or not reaching RP 10. Not grinding reps. Now, I know that you've been told that going to failure on everything is great. And for the most part it is. But on compound movements it's not. Cause they're the first thing you do in the workout. So they're very important for you. And if you fail them, then the whole workout is basically gonna be a failure. Like, have you ever failed a deadlift before your legs day? Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, that shit sucks. The whole day after that is just, you're just going through the movements basically and you feel beat up. Or even grinding for that matter. You still feel beat up. And you'll have us the whole workout. Which is not a great thing. Because the strength work, although it's important, is the most important part of your day, it's nothing without the volume work that you do. The volume work really complements your strength work. And if your volume work is just half-assed, then the whole workout is a failure, basically. So, rather than going through all that, just leave one rep in the tank. It's okay. You'll still get the same amount of gains. And the rest of your workout will feel much better. Try this next time you work out. If you ever failed on the first movement that you do, maybe try to leave a rep in the tank, And then you can go hard on your secondary movements or isolation movements and things like that. And they also tax you a lot less. So if you fail on a deadlift, you're probably gonna be beat up for a few days. But if you just leave one rep in the tank, you'll probably be fine. That's from individual to individual, how you recover. But overall, leaving a rep in the tank will give you a better recovery. Now, I know that there is gonna be someone that just runs with what I say right now and they're just gonna leave one rep in the tank on every movement. But you should never do that. I'm only talking about compound movements, really. Or strength work, or whatever you want to call it. Your first movement. Your most important movement of the day. But I'm a big fan of going to failure on isolation movements. Even beyond failure, if the movement allows it. Like pull downs and things like that. Yeah, for sure go beyond failure on those. So using partials and things like that. But yeah, only leave reps in the tank on those harder movements, those more riskier movements, I'd say. And that leads me on to my next point, avoiding injury. When you grind a deadlift, when you grind a squat, when you grind a bench press, that's really taxing on you and you can really get injured like that. Maybe you lift your butt up on the bench or you start rounding your back on the squat or on the deadlift, You shouldn't do that, but you do it to get the last rep. But that's very dangerous, especially on those movements. You could be out of the game for a few months doing that, so I wouldn't recommend it. So just leave one rep in the tank. Just be safe. And you'll pretty much never get injured like that, as long as your form was good from the start. And I know that nowadays is this mentality that you either go hard or you go home, but you shouldn't really be like that, especially on compound movements. Like, yeah bro, get the last rep. Like, yeah, that's cool and all, but not when you can't get the last rep. You can be like that on safer movements, to be honest, but don't do that on squat, bench, deadlift, or other movements that I'm forgetting right now, and they're still with a high risk rate, So how should you progress if you're doing this reps in a reserve thing? So let's say you can do 4 reps on a bench, right? And 4 reps is really challenging for you. You don't know if you can get 5. So don't try it. Just do 4 reps every week until you get comfortable with doing them. And then move up to 5 reps. And do that again. You don't have to progress super quick. That doesn't really matter for us. Because we don't care about strength, right? And you're much better off progressing with 1 rep in the tank than progressing without reps in the tank. Because you're bound to fail a rep if you're just doing that. And we don't want to risk that. I mean, sure, if you got spotters on a bench, then go ahead. But most of us don't. And on a deadlift, you can't even really spot it. So just don't do it. Even if you progress slower than someone else, you'll still progressing at a higher quality. If that makes sense. But yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say for this video. Goodbye.